Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Roman. I'm mobile apps consultant from Google AdMob. I support our partners from CE region with their ads monetization, mostly not only with ads monetization. But yeah, today we are going to talk about another part. We work with our partners, which is UX. I'm gonna share some of the top learnings our team took from our consultations with regards to the UX. We were checking how many consultations we've done during this year, and we were like thinking about 100 or something, but we ended up that we did like around 1,000 consultations with regards to UX, and they were very broad, starting from RPG games, strategy games, hyper casual games, any other kind of genres and variety. And also we checked in-app purchases heavy related games, and both mostly ad revenue heavy games. So we have kind of a broad focus, and today's guidance I would share, it's of course partially related to ad monetization, but also is super applicable for in-app purchases, games, or apps that you have. So all the advice that I provide is applicable mostly to games, but you easily can apply the same logic and transfer it to your app's development. So yeah, quick reminder, if you want to ask some questions, of course, our audience could raise their hands. You can actually interrupt me during the presentation. And for those folks who are watching us online, you can ask the questions here. So I wanted to start with this kind of a bold statement. Please feel free to disagree and share your opinion afterwards. We'll be happy to chat about that, but user satisfaction is paramount, great UX comes first, and the money will follow. So basically, this is probably not everyone would agree, but this is the statement that we have within the team, and we think that UX is definitely paramount. But before I will jump into this discussion, it's a good idea actually to agree and align on the definitions of the UX, because UX might be a completely different thing for many stakeholders. And if we will talk about game designers, they will probably think about how to make the game the most engaging, the most beautiful, the most exciting for their users. If we will talk about developers, they will say that the best UX is when the code is very nice structured, documented, clear instructions from the game designers received. Then we have marketeers, for whom the great UX will be the highest LTV possible. Of course, they are more about money people usually, and for them, these metrics will be highly correlated with the UX. And then we have the last, let's say, part of this ownership and stakeholders parts, who are the players. And for them, obviously, UX is like the cheap or almost free game with a nice design, with a nice gaming experience. So how those all these stakeholders align with each other? Mostly game designers and players, they love each other. So game designers, they are trying to make their players happy, while players are happy when the game designers doing a very nice thing for themselves. At the same time, designers and developers, they are also closely working together. Of course, the best scenario for game designers is probably the nightmare for the developers, because they have to handle all these requests. Then we have, of course, developers and players. Kind of, they are not in touch directly. They just solve the bugs and issues of the game or app. And then we have marketeers, who are purely like money world people, the guys from whom any kind of a game like or app which delivers 300% ROI is like the best game and the best gem in the world, which is not always the case for developers or for game designers. So all of them, they have different kind of UX perspectives of all of these stakeholders. Our goal of my team, especially who provides the UX consultations, is to align all of these stakeholders, be kind of a peacemaker between all of them. And my goal today is to also provide this kind of information, these insights, so your leadership and yourself will also be kind of a peacemakers, and will try to align all of these pillars and drive them all together. So how do we do that? Mostly we focus on three principles. maximizing fun, obviously. We fundamentally believe that the most of the monetization problems can be addressed by looking what can we quickly fix within the user journey. This is pretty simple and straightforward, and I will go deeper into analysis of this pillar later on. Then we want to leverage the technology, which is actually some time ago was not available, but now we have all kind of data sets, all kind of tools, all kind of data supported statistical, machine learning, AI, and everything all together, which provides us greater insights and greater capabilities to actually focus on the first pillar. And then we have the third pillar, which is the most important for the studios, because we are not working for free. We have to also earn money. We have to have bread and butter. So we have to ensure that our revenue pillar is also met, and in this case, we will have the healthier, let's say, ecosystem. So I would start with the personalization, which is the key in a most practical way. Everything I said before could be concentrated on the two fronts. Let's say we have plain folks. For them, we will focus on the user journey, and we have the money folks for whom we will focus on revenue. And with like bunch of resources that we have, like with the Firebase, with other tools, we actually target those two pillars together. So let's discuss the user journey. So in order to achieve those pretty basic goals, which I shared just before, we have to focus on some kind of a structure, some kind of a pillars. And in our work, we actually created very simple framework, which feel free to use it to make a picture, also to elaborate, which focuses on three main UX pillars. So they are onboarding. It's everything from the first app opening, or even earlier, from the first, let's say, even install without app opening. And typically the range is around 1 to 3 days. This is the part which we call onboarding. Then we have engagement, which is day 7, day 14, retention rate, and then we have retention part, which is like day 30 plus retention rate. So during all of these steps, we have to focus on different kind of optimization stuff. If we're talking about the onboarding, we have to minimize the churn during onboarding. If we're talking about engagement, we have to optimize this part, mostly like game progress, depth of features that they use. And then when we are talking about retention, we have to stabilize the tail that we have and make it like as longer as possible. Um, Here I would share a bit of a like case, more of a practical analysis with regards to those pillars that I shared. This is like the abstract analysis that we did, very basic one. These numbers are fake numbers. Obviously, I'm not gonna share numbers of my partners, but you can apply these numbers to any kind of your app or game and use them on your own. So let's see. We have this case when partners comes and wants to analyze something with regards to their UX. We have the first part is what. So what we are trying to see, what we are trying to solve, what we are trying to achieve here. At the first stage, we actually want to identify how do we compare this partner to their peers. So we do the benchmark. As you can see, we have benchmark in the light blue, our game X in the dark blue color. And as we can see, the day one retention is amazing. It's even better than their peer set, but day three retention drops like significantly. And but then we have a plateau, which says actually, so our game or app is not that bad actually. But yeah, our partner, it was the real case in this scenario. It was the real case. Our partner said, our game is not for everyone. That's why we see this kind of a day 3 retention. But then, as you can see, those core users, they are staying with us for a longer term. They are fine, so we are well. And then from our side, we see this kind of a drop, and we say, okay, you are doing great. So it means that the third pillar, which I mentioned before, the retention is okay, but your engagement pillar or your onboarding pillar is not healthy. So you are doing something wrong. maybe you're just losing out or missing out some of the opportunities here. That's why we have to focus on day 3 retention and try to solve it, because day 3 retention, it's not only like this kind of a basic uplift for the day 3 retention, it's uplift across all of your other retentions, because you will keep your key users for longer if you don't have any other issues during their lifetime journey. That's why we have to solve this kind of issue. And then we started analyzing why we have this kind of a day 3 issue with their retention. And we started with the benchmark, obviously. We took the best game in this genre. We took the best, let's say, approach that they use with regards to those steps that user has during those first 3 days. And we just walked through the steps that they have. We found that after level 1 complete, game plan was visualized. So it was some kind of a meta added to the gameplay. So basically users saw, okay, now I'm here, then my journey will be continued like that. So the user knew the information, what's the progress of the success. Then level 2 started, the user played for 56 seconds, then level 2 completed, the game provided the reward, pretty standard. Level 3 started, even longer session, then user was not successful. He or she realized that it wasn't successful, so I have to reveal my strategy to change something. And then it was another gameplay session. It was a bit longer, but level 3 was completed. So it was a pretty long journey, but it was kind of a good benchmark for them. Then we took our game from with whom we analyzed, with whom we worked, and we checked their comparison for the same kind of a user, how the gameplay was structured for them. So we had the first game. Game first was finished. Task list was displayed. Game 2 started. Game 2 finished in 15 seconds. Then game 3 started, finished in 17 seconds. Then game 4 started, finished in 25 seconds. And it was basically no limits to the levels. So the user was able to proceed like for no kind of a limit. So it was almost continuous process for the user, and user knew that it could she or he could play like for a very long time for the same journey without no kind of a meta, without no kind of information. And that's how we spotted, okay, there is a big difference, and we see that there is a difference in meta. So the user, we are missing out something on this kind of a group of users. Yeah, and here on the slide you can see, let's imagine this is all variety on all of all users in the world. They're kind of different. They're pretty different in many ways. And we have profitability lines. Some of them are profitable, some of them non-profitable, taking into account in-app purchases or ad revenue purchases, doesn't matter. So we have this kind of a bunch of the users. And our partner was saying, okay, this is our basically target audience. We're targeting specific group of people for whom actually the game might, for whom this kind of target audience could be both profitable and non-profitable users, and they don't care. They just target those users for whom they actually developed their game. Our counter statement was like, actually, this was not your real target audience. You should target profitable users here. And instead of like specifically focusing on those users who enjoy the game, you can adjust your gameplay to those users who might enjoy your gameplay. And here's the real your real target audience, those users who are profitable. So you have to adjust your gameplay to make it profitable for you. So basically the question is not like, are these gamers male or female? Are they enjoying easy or hard levels? Are they enjoying, I don't know, some specific colors or design? They are all basically, all of these users, they are your target audience. You have to adjust just your game or app to these users. And so how do we do that? Actually, this is the last part of our journey. In the case, we are trying to solve this kind of issue, and we are trying to find an answer how to basically develop this kind of a game for everyone who is profitable. So here you start with basic analysis. which says like 90% of users who stay longer than 3 days play each game for every 30 seconds on average. So we have some basic information from Google Analytics. Then we have to build our hypothesis in order to increase the day 3 retention. So we knew that day 3 retention was the major issue for us. We have to adjust our players who spent less than 30 seconds during the gameplay. And we can do that pretty easily. We go to Firebase, or many of you might have their own custom solutions. Whatever solution works best for you, you go and check and split these audiences. So you have the audience of people who are playing more than 30 seconds. They're okay. And you have the users who are playing less than 30 seconds or spending in the app less than 30 seconds. We split them up. Those who are more than 30 seconds, we keep as is. Those who are less, we adjust experience. And obviously, what we do always, we test. We do ABC test. So here we adjust these users who are less than 30 seconds to keep as is games. But for them, we know that they are already pretty easy. They're too fast with the progress, and they don't stick. They don't like them, and they are not encouraged with these games. Or we can introduce levels which are progressing with the how hard those levels might be. We do the test. We found the winner in that case. Obviously, it was introduced more levels, and then we can roll out the levels. If you use remote config, or if you don't use remote config, you have to use your your own platform. But with remote config, it's pretty easy. If you don't use it, go Firebase remote config. You can find out those functionalities. Yeah, as I mentioned before, we've done hundreds of those sessions, and the pillars that you saw, they're pretty straightforward, and you can apply the logic at any kind of apps and games. But here I will share once again some of the common mistakes that that we see among all of our partners, and they are pretty basic. You might say they are too basic actually, and we are not having them. But probably someone in the audience, they have this kind of mistakes. One of the most common things is tutorial, which is not implemented properly. So as you can see, tutorial is like part of our onboarding. Obviously, we have the critical, non-critical, and assistive parts. We have the setup when we ask GDPR, any kind of consent, everything we need like to gameplay, maybe access to camera or whatever. And then we have the critical part of the onboarding, which we have to minimize. So basically we have some kind of instructions which we provide to our users, without which they wouldn't know what to do. Then we have non-critical advice, like use this kind of a strategy or that kind of strategy, which is basically something we can provide later on during their journey. So we have to eliminate this part. And then we have assistive part of the user journey, like where to tap, how to move the fingers, how to move the stuff around the interface. And this one, people usually provide kind of a dummy interface, fake one. So users, they are starting using kind of dummy things. They're trying to utilize this UX, which is not the best. Which is not the best case, because you have to actually reduce time to fun and move this kind of assistive tutorial to the gameplay. So it should be built in the gameplay or in the main core functionality. So basically, your users will be learning by doing something. Then the second one, which we usually also see, is the engagement. The issue with the engagement. So many game developers, they are actually misjudging the motivation of users. So we can see two kind of let's say banners which we show to our users after the completion. The first one in this case, very, let's say, complicated. It provides lots of data, lots of information, like a statistical bureau, right? You did this and that, like you reached this kind of I don't know, goals. So this kind of overcomplicated. Usually your users, they are staying with you not because I don't know, they want to have this kind of a data just for fun, right? They want to see the progress. Obviously, they want to have sense of accomplishment. Highly likely, like with those stars, they have they want to see some recognition because they completed the level or the game, right? That's why you have to oversimplify this and show only like, okay, you are gorgeous, you are a great user, you are nice, you well done, something like that, instead of saying, okay, you completed level 5 with this kind of a time. It doesn't say me anything. I want to be gorgeous. I want to be very, very cool because I completed this level, and I want to see this kind of achievement afterwards. I want to, right? I want to feel well. Not, I wouldn't feel well if I see like time 4:23. I don't know what's this. I don't know how it could be compared to other users. I want to be gorgeous. So that's why you should simplify this kind of a pop-up and pay attention to what your users are staying for, what your users expecting from the gameplay and your design. So before I will switch to retention part to the other part, I want to share why long tail is so important. I already mentioned the long tail before, but I will just duplicate this because recently we had a chat with our partner, 3 match game, pretty successful one. We had a chat. So this is also a dummy chart, no meta versus strong meta. And the partner during our consultation said, sorry, we asked, what's your day 30 retention, day 60 retention? Partner said, I don't care. After day 30, it's like 5% or something. And we were like, okay, actually you should care, because it seems like this tail doesn't, like this part doesn't make any sense, but actually it makes sense because this is a compounding element here. If you increase your day 60, day 90, day 180 retention by 1 percentage point, it might increase your LTV by considerably, like it might be this part of your audience might be half of your LTV in general. So you should care. And this part is actually, we usually say this is the meta part, the way you transform your users to the lifestyle. So what I mean here, your app or game becomes their lifestyle and they stay longer for you and they increase your LTV considerably. I wouldn't say like 30%, 50, 40, it depends, of course, but it will be a considerable part of your revenue. So you should care about your tail and you should care about your long-term retention here. Yeah, and here I'm just duplicating this statement about retention, right? Skipping the meta is a bad thing. You might have this kind of a 2 versions, just tic-tac-toe game for which, I don't know, users might play, I don't know, maybe 1 day, 7 days, whatever, but then they will delete it. But when you add functionality to this, like users have the progress, they have easy game, they have stronger game, heavy game levels, any kind of game levels, they would stay longer because they will have a sense of accomplishment of something, right? You are already adding the first pillar of meta here. But if you want to give them a purpose, you should add another layer of meta here. So they should have this kind of a part where you say, congrats, well done, great job. You are this kind of a level in this location, this region. So you give them sense of a purpose and they use your app or game as a lifestyle game. Another stuff which also particularly important for the retention, some of you might disagree on this one. This is controversial, but this is what we saw. So basically, there are many questions we receive when to show, I don't know, different kind of notification consents, and many actually partners, they drop them straight away, and they show them straight away. And okay, their metric usually is like how many users will proceed with this kind of a consent. So they measure the rate of those users who would agree with this consent. This is the first example. This is the second example. Highly likely, the first example will show you that you will have more users who agreed to actually receive notifications. But what's your real metric? Do you want to see those users pissed off because you pop up and spam them with the notifications, or you want to see those users actually reacting to this notification because they want to play the game, they are waiting for the tournament, they are waiting for some activities, they are waiting for their reward or something similar. So basically split out those metrics that are most important for you. How many users actually reply yes to this consent because they want to receive notifications, and how many users actually just accidentally clicked and then they will delete your app or game because they were pissed off because you were spamming them with those notifications. So please split out those metrics, and this would definitely show you most kind of insights that you might get from this. uh, Monetization. So here I start with the ad monetization, and I will promote obviously AdMob starting from here. So I would talk mostly about ad revenue. Um, this is like, let's say, game designers who say, ads are intrusive, they make playing experience horrible, no one would like our game, no one like ads here. And yeah, this is a very like bold statement, but then not all users have actually money, and not all users actually can pay for your content to proceed in the game, to proceed in the app, to have this kind of premium functionality. So you're missing out those users who actually cannot pay something, who want to enjoy the best experience that you provide them, but they don't actually have the possibility to pay. So basically, you have to think about the ads monetization as the virtual currency, where the user pay with not with their dollars but with their time, and then it is converted to the money. And here it's just the basic example how you can split out with the smart segmentation those users who are not going to pay anything ever in your game. In AdMob interface, we have this kind of a functionality which says, like, basically we can predict who would be your paying users and who would not be your paying users. So for those who likely gonna pay for something in your game, we wouldn't show any ads. And for those who are not gonna pay, we will show some rewarded or interstitial ads. So basically you split out those audiences and you are not missing out because of something. Um, yeah, and as I mentioned before, it should be a virtual currency. So basically, you can help your users with the ads, with, let's say, non-intrusive ad formats to progress within the levels, to make them more happy because they can stay longer in the game because they got their life, they got some coins, they basically are more engaged in the game. And you can also see that with the, if you will test kind of a metric with the retention or engagement, and you will implement some of the rewarded ads, you might definitely see some improvements in the engagement of your users, because they might stay longer if you implemented the mechanic and the logic of your rewarded ad successfully. They would stay longer because they would be more engaged, because they already have not only their gaming time investment, but watching ad is also a time investment. So basically they will be more committed to the game or app. And here I will just split out those ads that we have, the newest ads formats, to make also them transparent, when to use them in terms of the UX, how to use them properly, how to set them up properly. So since you are building the great user experience, you should apply those ads monetization properly and use the right strategy for different formats. I would stop at 3 pillars: open app, engagement, and transition. With app open, we have the first pillar, pretty friendly UX for this kind of format, very new to the market. We are not the only provider, so great news. Not only we who support this kind of a demand, and I definitely recommend to try this format out, because we saw only positive feedback, not only but mostly positive feedback on the UX, and we didn't see any significant negative feedback on the market about the churn or any other metrics. So definitely you should try App Open, because of the mostly 3 things. It unlocks new inventory. So basically you cannot put any interstitials or any rewarded at the start of the game. So you didn't have this inventory before. Then you can maximize the demand, because not only we support this format anymore, and there are other providers who support this format, and you have the better UX, because statistically we measured like how good is UX for the app open, and it's much better than any other format for this kind of a start of the of your app. Then we have engage, obviously rewarded, um, about this format I already talked a lot, so I wouldn't stop here. But yeah, this is a great format just because it creates great in-app and experience, and user enjoy just the end value the reward that you provide. Obviously, some people might do mistakes when they implement, and you have to test it first. Like, how many rewards should you provide? How often should you show this kind of ads? And this is very important. Also, always test this. Firebase remote config is a thing here, or your own custom solution is definitely a thing. Test out different kind of rewards, different kind of timings would be the best solution here, and you will be happy and your users will be happy. Yeah, then we have rewarded interstitials, which are pretty new, very nice format. And the best use case here is not all of your users actually know about your rewarded format, because not all of the users actually know where it is, how to opt in, how to push or go for additional kind of gems or something. That's where rewarded interstitials plays the game. And this is the format which doesn't require opt-in from the user. You show it to your users, and they have the right to say no. If they don't want to see the reward, or sorry, receive the reward, they might say no, and that's it. But for you, it's actually a good thing to monetize those users who are missing out on rewarded format. And we have native ads for full screen experience. This is especially important for those who are providing tools um, and apps, not games, but mostly apps, because this format is very suitable for any kind of design, pretty flexible. You can adjust it to your needs, you can adjust it to your design of the app, and it will be seamless, so users would not be annoyed because it's something pops up, it's something randomly, I don't know, doesn't work because of, I don't know, something you misinterpret as the non-ad or something like that. So this is a very nice format specifically for apps and tools. Then we have transition. For transition, collapsible banner is the new format which you can use. It works as the normal banner, but it pops up or rolls out to half of your screen. Very actually useful for games. Has higher CPMs, has very nice UX. At the end of the game, or the level or the process that you have, you might show the collapsible banner half of your screen. Then the user can collapse it, and then the user can proceed within the interface. So as I said, benefits of this format: very nice eCPMs, very easy to integrate, and it's super suitable for the use cases as this one, those transition periods when user finished the game or finished the level or finished the process in your app, and then you can show this kind of a format. This is the brief overview of those formats that we have, and that's it from my side.